One, we'll talk about the bully stick situation for a minute here. So that is something I want you guys starting to add back in. You don't have to do it every day, obviously, but maybe once or twice a week, give them a bully stick. And the two things that I care about when it comes to like high value resources like that is that one, there's some structure to how I give it to them, and two, there's some structure to how I take it from them, right? The biggest issues that create the resource guarding in the first place is a couple of things. One, there's no impulse control before we even go to give it to him, meaning we're getting that bully stick out and he is just all over us because he's so excited to get it, right? So I want to make sure he is patiently waiting until I tell him he could have it. And I don't use a command for it. I don't say sit or down or wait or anything like that. As I'm going to get it, if he starts jumping on me to get it from me or anything like that, I just correct for it, right? And for those things, especially given the fact that resource guarding is a more serious issue, I correct a lot higher for those things. So maybe you'll be at a 30 for that or something like that, right? So correct him if he tries to jump for you before you give it to him. From there,
he's very verbal.
Again, I don't care about whimpering, but let's say I'm standing here with it. Would he jump to try to get it, do you think?
No. The other dog will.
Okay.
He'll bark.
Jump. He may bark eventually if we're really holding on to it for a long time and he's not getting it. But
He's like
in that situation, yeah.
So then maybe to practice, if he's not jumping and stuff like that, to practice that impulse control, what you could do is you could put him in a sit and like set it down right in front of him and correct him at that higher level if he goes for it and breaks that sit, right? That way we have the impulse control established before giving it to him, right? Second thing, obviously we give it to him. From there, we want him to get used to chewing it in our space. We're not messing with him or anything. I'm not trying to pet him or anything like that. I think that creates resource guarding issues, but I don't want to like give it to him and immediately be like, I'm gonna go off somewhere else and do it. So if you're gonna give it to him and just kind of hang out near him while he's engaging with it, right? Second thing is I need to make sure he's gonna release it if I need him to. Now, obviously with a bully stick, he's gonna eat it and it's gonna go away, so it's not like a toy where you have to take it back at the end. So usually what I'll do is somewhere in the middle, I'll make him drop it one time for me, right? Same deal, give your release command, whether it's out or drop or whatever you want it to be, obviously. Same deal, level set up high. If he doesn't drop it immediately, you're giving a higher correction for that. Right? Once he drops it and he's waiting for it again, you can give it back to him, then you could let him finish it, right?
It's actually fair about like messing with him because we used it as a tool to brush him. So that's also why when you give it to him, he like runs away, like he wants to.
That's a great point, right? And that could have accidentally created some of those guarding issues over it. You know what I mean?
He's gonna be like real
high stress situation, right? Like this thing resembles this negative thing happening, right? So yeah, that absolutely could, right? So to combat that though, again, impulse control around it, right? Before you give it to him, make sure you're not messing with him while he has it. And then third thing being obviously making sure he'll release it if we need him to, right? And if you could check those boxes, there should be no reason why you have any issues with it.
The impulse control, he's really good about his food in the morning, like we put it down in front of him.
Sure.
And he'll just wait until we say, okay.
Yep. Same exact thing.
It doesn't need to be long, right?
No. Long enough where you could tell he's not going for it, right? But it doesn't have to be like 6 minutes or anything like that, right? So, 10 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah, sorry.
Is he? That's hilarious. So as far as that's concerned, that's how you guys are going to address that, obviously.
Okay.
So.
No, I see that like resemblance of why he probably
Good job,
chews
bud.
bully sticks that way.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh,
Come on, bud.
I'm allowed to chew this as
Yeah.
possible.
So if we are going to, sorry, my question was going to be, you kind of asked it too, is
Sit.
if he takes it and then runs away, what do we do then?
Yeah.
Do we follow him?
Yeah. Maybe the first couple times you do it, have him on the leash. So he has to stay with you. You know what I mean? And then he could be anywhere within the realms of this leash, chewing on it. You know what I mean? That might be a solution for that initially. It's not that I care that he goes somewhere else with it, but right now we need to get him used to, engaging with it with us near him, right? So. Okay, cool. So what we'll do these last 10 minutes here is I want to start shaping that down again here. So obviously you guys said you did some work with the leash pressure down, him getting into position, obviously. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start adding verbal command and a correction in for that. So what I'm going to do, here, bud. Come to a stop.
And does that transfer into things that he's not supposed to?
Down. Good question. So, no, down.
So for example, he likes the mulch.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
And he actually, if we say no, He like spits it out.
Yep. So here's the thing. So when we get into use of drop it or leave it or out or anything like that, I only use it for things the dog is sometimes allowed to have, right? So a bully stick, he is sometimes allowed to have. So me using drop or out is kind of like my warning of like, you gotta drop it right now, dude, right? Things that he's never allowed to have, mulch, trash on the ground, things like that, I simply say no and correct for those things because I want them to go away. I don't want to have to tell him drop every time he gets into it, or I'm not telling him, I should say more specifically, I'm not telling him you could have it until I tell you drop. I'm telling you you're not allowed to have it at all, right?